I wish I'd waited for someone like you, she told the best man at his sister's wedding, in front of me. So I ended it that night. Now she's uninvited from every family event. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I should have known something was off when Rachel spent 20 minutes fixing her makeup before we left for my sister's wedding rehearsal dinner. Not the normal touch-up routine, the full reset, the one she usually reserved for her company's holiday parties or when her college friends came to town. But I chalked it up to wanting to look good for photos, maybe nerves about meeting some of my extended family for the first time. We'd been together 4 years, lived together for 2. I'm an architect, she works in marketing. Normal relationship stuff, Sunday grocery runs, arguing about whose turn it was to take out the trash, or stealing my hoodies. We talked about marriage in that vague someday way that couples do when they're comfortable. My family loved her. Her parents tolerated me. It wasn't fireworks, but it was solid. Or so I thought. Sarah's wedding was beautiful. My little sister married her college boyfriend at this vineyard about an hour outside the city, late September when the leaves were just starting to turn. I was proud of her, emotional in that way you get when you realize your baby sister is actually a whole adult with her own life. Mom cried during the ceremony. Dad pretended he had allergies. Rachel squeezed my hand during the vows, and I remember thinking maybe this would inspire us to finally have that real conversation about our future. The reception was in full swing by the time the sun started setting. That golden hour light that photographers obsess over, string lights coming on overhead, the DJ playing something that got everyone's parents on the dance floor. I was making rounds, saying hi to cousins I hadn't seen in years, when I noticed Rachel at the bar talking to Kyle. Kyle was my brother-in-law's best man. They'd been friends since middle school. Good guy, successful, worked in commercial real estate. The kind of confident that comes from never really failing at anything. He'd been friendly to both of us all weekend, but I'd noticed Rachel laughing a little too loud at his jokes during the rehearsal dinner, touching his arm when she talked to him. I'd felt that twist in my stomach, but pushed it down. Don't be that guy, I told myself. Don't be jealous and insecure at your sister's wedding. But watching them at the bar, the way she angled her body toward him, the way she kept playing with her hair, that twist came back stronger. I walked over with 2 glasses of wine. Hey, got you a refill. Rachel barely glanced at me. Oh, I already got one. Kyle was just telling me about this property deal in Miami. Yeah, man, it's insane down there right now, Kyle said, and I could tell he was trying to include me in the conversation, but Rachel cut him off. God, that sounds amazing. I would kill for that kind of lifestyle. She waved her hand vaguely. Doing something exciting, you know? What we do is pretty exciting, I said, trying to keep my tone light. We literally design buildings. She laughed. Not with me. At me. Marcus, come on. You draw lines on a computer. Kyle is closing million-dollar deals. My face went hot. Kyle looked uncomfortable, shifted his weight. I mean, architecture is, I wish I'd waited for someone like you, Rachel said, and the words came out so casually, like she was commenting on the weather. She was looking right at Kyle, her back partially to me. Someone who actually, made something of himself. Someone with ambition. The noise of the reception faded into white static. I stood there holding 2 glasses of wine like an idiot, watching my girlfriend of 4 years tell another man she wished she'd waited for him instead. At my sister's wedding, with my mom and aunt standing 10 feet away, close enough to hear every word. Kyle's expression shifted from uncomfortable to horrified. Rachel, she finally turned and saw me. Saw my face. And instead of backtracking, instead of apologizing, she rolled her eyes. Oh my God, Marcus. I'm joking. Why are you being so sensitive? That didn't sound like a joke, I said quietly. See, this is exactly what I mean, she said to Kyle, gesturing at me with her wine glass. Everything is always so serious. So heavy. Can't you just lighten up for one night? My aunt had definitely heard. She was staring. Kyle looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. I need some air, I said, and walked away before I said something I'd regret. Or before I started crying at my sister's wedding, which felt like a distinct possibility. I found myself at the edge of the vineyard, where the manicured lawn gave way to actual grapevines, away from the lights and music. My hands were shaking. For years, I'd spent 4 years with someone who thought I hadn't made something of myself, who thought I lacked ambition, who could say something that cruel so casually, like it was just an observation she'd been holding on to. Marcus. Sarah appeared next to me, still in her wedding dress. Mascara slightly smudged, Whether from happy tears earlier or angry tears now, I couldn't tell. You're supposed to be celebrating, I said. And you're supposed to not look like someone kicked your dog at my reception. She crossed her arms. What the hell was that? What the hell is wrong with her? You heard. Half the family heard. Mom is ready to throw her out herself. Sarah grabbed my arm. Marcus, what she said, was how she really feels. That's the thing, Sarah. She meant it. The joke was that she said it out loud. My sister pulled me into a hug, careful not to let me wrinkle her dress too badly. You deserve so much better than that. We've been together 4 years. So? Sunk cost fallacy. You taught me that term when I was trying to justify staying in that terrible internship, remember? She pulled back, looked at me seriously. This is your out. Take it. I made it through the rest of the reception on autopilot. Rachel acted completely normal, like nothing had happened. She danced. She laughed. She took selfies with the bridesmaids. When she caught me watching her, she'd give me this look, part annoyed, part confused, like I was the one being unreasonable. The drive home was silent except for the GPS. She fell asleep or pretended to. I kept replaying it. I wish I'd waited for someone like you. Someone who actually made something of himself. We got back to our apartment around 1 in the morning. Rachel kicked off her heels in the entryway, started unzipping her dress. Can we talk? I said. I'm exhausted, Marcus. Can it wait? No. She sighed. That put upon sound she made when I asked her to do her own laundry. Fine. What? What you said to Kyle tonight? Oh my God. She actually laughed. You're really going to ruin Sarah's wedding weekend over a joke. It wasn't a joke. And you know it. Everyone was drinking. You're being dramatic. She walked toward the bedroom. I followed. Rachel, you told another man you wished you'd waited for him. In front of me. In front of my family. She spun around. Okay, you want me to say I'm sorry you got your feelings hurt? Fine. I'm sorry you got your feelings hurt. Happy now. That's not an apology. What do you want from me, Marcus? Her voice had an edge now. You want me to grovel? Beg forgiveness? I made an offhand comment after a few glasses of wine. Kyle didn't take it seriously. Why are you being like this? Because it wasn't offhand. Because you meant it. She stared at me for a long moment, and something in her expression shifted. Calculation. Maybe if you were more confident, you wouldn't be so paranoid. Don't do that. Don't make this about me being insecure. Then what is it about, Marcus? Enlighten me. I sat down on the edge of our bed. For years of memories in this room. Her clothes in my closet. Her shampoo in the shower. Evidence of a life built together, and suddenly all of it felt like it was built on sand. I think you should stay with Emma for a while, I said quietly. She blinked. What? I need space. And I think you need to figure out what you actually want. You're breaking up with me? Over this. She was staring at me like I'd grown a second head. No. I'm breaking up with you because of how little you think of me. The wedding just made it obvious. You're insane. You're actually insane. She grabbed her phone off the nightstand. I'm not leaving my own apartment because you decided to have a breakdown. It's my apartment. You moved in. Your name isn't on the lease. That stopped her. You're seriously doing this. I'm seriously doing this. She started cycling through reactions like she was testing which one would work. Anger. You're going to regret this. Guilt. After everything I've done for you. Bargaining. We can go to counseling. Each one lasted about 30 seconds before she moved to the next. I've already made up my mind, I said. Fine. She grabbed an overnight bag from the closet, started throwing clothes into it. Fine. When you come crawling back in a week, don't expect me to be waiting. I won't be crawling back. She left at 2 in the morning, slamming the door hard enough to make the pictures rattle on the wall. I sat in the silence of my apartment and waited to feel something other than numb. The next morning, I drove back to the vineyard for the post-wedding brunch. My family took one look at my face and knew. Where's Rachel? Mom asked carefully. Gone. I told them everything over fruit salad and mimosas while other wedding guests mingled on the patio. Sarah held my hand under the table. Dad got that particular expression he only gets when he's truly angry. Jaw tight, eyes hard. That girl is not welcome in this house, Mom said, and there was no room for argument in her voice. Kyle found me after brunch. Man, I am so sorry. I had no idea she was going to. I never encouraged. I know. It's not on you. For what it's worth, that was one of the most uncomfortable moments of my life. And I once gave a presentation with my fly down. I managed a weak laugh. Thanks for trying to shut it down. She texted me last night, he admitted. Around 3 a.m. I didn't respond. Of course she did. I spent the next week in a fog. Changed the locks. Had a friend help me box up Rachel's stuff. Set it in the building's storage room and texted her the unit number. She could arrange pickup whenever. Blocked her on social media, then her phone number. Not out of anger, out of self-preservation. Every time I saw her name, I felt that twist in my stomach again. She tried to reach out through mutual friends. Emma called. Marcus, she's a mess. She says you won't talk to her. I won't. She made a mistake. She made a choice. At my sister's wedding, in front of my family, Emma went quiet. Yeah, that was bad. I'm not interested in relitigating this, Emma. I'm sorry you're caught in the middle. Rachel's version of events spread through our friend group. I'd overreacted, been jealous, couldn't handle her talking to other men. But the people who'd been at the wedding knew better. The story from my family's side was different, and it had the benefit of being true. Our mutual friends started to sort themselves, most of them fading from my life, but the real ones stayed. I threw myself into work, took on extra projects, started going to the gym at 6 a.m. because I couldn't sleep anyway. I talked to a therapist who asked me uncomfortable questions like, why did you tolerate subtle disrespect for so long? And what did you get out of being with someone who made you feel small? Turns out I had some stuff to work on. Meanwhile, Rachel's social media became a performance. Photos at bars with captions about living my best life and knowing my worth. Quotes about how some people can't handle a strong woman. I saw them through friends' screenshots. I'd stayed blocked, and each one felt like proof that I'd made the right choice. But according to Emma, who still checked in on me occasionally, the reality was different. Rachel was asking about me constantly. Had I started dating? Was I okay? Did I mention her? Emma had stopped answering most of her calls. 3 months after the wedding, I got a text from an unknown number. Hey, I've been thinking about us. Can we talk? I deleted it. 2 days later, I know I messed up. I miss you. Delete. A week later, please, just tell me what I can do to fix this. I changed my number. She tried Sarah next. My sister called me, incredulous. Rachel just asked me to convince you to talk to her. Can you believe the audacity? What did you say? I told her she's got some nerve, and that she's not invited to Thanksgiving, or Christmas, or my first anniversary party, or any family event for the rest of forever. Sarah, you don't have to. Mom and Dad agree. We discussed it. What she did was unforgivable, and we're not pretending otherwise to be polite. That's when it hit me how completely I'd been supported. My family hadn't equivocated or tried to stay neutral. They'd seen what happened and chosen my side without hesitation. Rachel had spent 4 years building relationships with them, and she destroyed all of it in one casual comment. She tried my parents next. Dad told her, politely but firmly, that it was between Rachel and me, and they weren't getting involved. Mom was less polite. According to Dad, she'd said something along the lines of, you had something good and you threw it away. That's on you. Work apparently wasn't going well for her either. Emma let slip that Rachel had gotten into it with her boss over taking too many personal calls, too many long lunches. The focused, driven woman I'd known was unraveling, and part of me, the part one wasn't proud of, felt vindicated. I started dating again around month 5. Nothing serious, just coffee dates and walks in the park. Remembering what it felt like to talk to someone who seemed genuinely interested in what I had to say, who didn't treat my job like a consolation prize, who laughed with me instead of at me. That's how I met Lisa. She was a landscape architect, brought in to consult on a project my firm was designing. We got coffee to discuss the integration of green space, and ended up talking for 2 hours about everything except work. She was kind, funny, secure in herself in a way I'd forgotten was possible. So what's your story? She asked on our 3rd date. Why is someone like you single? I gave her the abbreviated version. 4-year relationship, ended badly, still processing. Her loss, Lisa said simply, and something about the way she said it, matter of fact, not performative, made me believe she meant it. We took it slow. I was honest about not wanting to rush into anything serious. She appreciated that. We went to museums, cooked dinner at each other's apartments, had actual conversations about our days that didn't feel like competitions. She asked about my projects with genuine curiosity, told me about her dreams of starting her own firm someday. It was easy in a way I'd forgotten relationships could be. I didn't post about her on social media, kept it private. Some things were too good to turn into performance. Rachel's downfall, as I pieced it together from various sources, was both gradual and spectacular. She'd apparently pursued Kyle after our breakup. Not subtly. Texts, calls, showing up at his office building. He'd ignored her at first, then politely declined. then finally told mutual friends she was acting unhinged and showed them some of her messages. Screenshots made the rounds. The woman who'd wished she'd waited for someone like Kyle had to confront the reality that Kyle wanted nothing to do with her. Her friendship with Emma disintegrated after Emma got tired of every conversation being about me or Kyle or Rachel's spiral. Other friends followed. The social circle she'd curated so carefully collapsed. She bounced between short relationships, each one briefer than the last. I heard through the grapevine that she'd been telling people she was dating around, figuring out what she wanted. But the subtext was clearer. No one was sticking. Her performance at work deteriorated enough that she got a formal warning. Had to take a leave of absence for personal reasons. The confident marketing coordinator with her whole life together was barely holding on. And then the texts started again. From new numbers, new angles. I was drunk. I didn't mean it. You know me. We were together for years. That has to mean something. I made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. Why won't you even talk to me? I didn't respond to any of them. But I watched the progression with a detachment I hadn't thought possible 6 months earlier. The woman who'd casually devastated me at my sister's wedding was begging for scraps of my attention, and I felt nothing. Then the tone changed. You're really going to throw away everything over one comment? This is pathetic. You're being childish. I guess you never really loved me if you can just cut me off like this. Anger. Good. That was more honest than the desperate apologies. And then, I'm not doing well. I need you. Please. Just one conversation. You owe me at least that. I owed her nothing. My parents' 35th anniversary party was in late May, 10 months after the wedding. They'd rented out the backyard of the same vineyard, going for symmetry or maybe just because they liked the place. Smaller gathering than Sarah's wedding. Family, close friends, people who'd been part of their lives for decades. Lisa met my extended family for the first time. My grandmother loved her immediately. My cousins were welcoming. She fit into the fabric of my family in a way that felt natural, unforced. We weren't engaged or anything close to it, but standing there with her hand in mine, watching my parents dance to the same song they danced to at their wedding, I could see a future. An actual future, not the vague someday Rachel and I had always talked about. I was talking to Kyle. We'd become actual friends over the past months, when I saw Sarah's expression change. She was looking toward the entrance, her face shifting from confusion to anger. I turned. Rachel was walking across the lawn in a sundress I recognized. Her hair done in that way that took an hour, but was supposed to look effortless. She looked thinner, tired under the makeup. Her eyes scanned the crowd until they landed on me. You've got to be kidding me, Kyle muttered. Lisa touched my arm. Who's that? Rachel. My ex. The wedding one. Yeah. Sarah was already moving to intercept, but I put my hand up. I've got this. I met Rachel near the entrance, away from the main party. Far enough that we wouldn't make a scene. Close enough that my family could see I had it under control. Marcus, she said, and her voice cracked on my name. Please, I just need 5 minutes. You need to leave. You weren't invited. I know, but you won't answer my calls, and I need you to understand. She stepped closer. I stepped back. That night at the wedding, I was drunk and stupid, and Rachel, I don't want to do this. We were together 4 years. Her voice rose. Doesn't that matter? Don't I get a chance to explain? You explained everything that night. You told Kyle exactly how you felt. I was drunk. People say stupid things when they drink. You've never said something you regret. Not to someone I love. Not in front of their family. Not something I actually meant. She was crying now, mascara starting to run. So what? You're just perfect now. With your perfect little girlfriend? She gestured back toward the party, toward Lisa. She's not even, don't. The word came out harder than I intended. Whatever you're about to say, don't. She deflated. I'm sorry, okay? I've been a mess without you. I lost Emma. I almost lost my job. Her voice broke. I made a mistake, and I've paid for it. Haven't I paid enough? I looked at her, really looked at her, and tried to find the person I'd spent 4 years with. The person I'd imagined a future with. But all I could see was someone who'd made me feel small for being exactly who I was. Someone who'd only realized my value after she couldn't find something better. Rachel, I said quietly, I hope you get your life together. I really do. But it's not going to be with me. Why not? We were happy. We were good together. Were we? Because looking back, I'm not sure you ever really saw me. You saw someone safe. Someone who would always be there while you looked for something better. That's not. You found what you thought was better, And you couldn't even wait until we got home to make me feel small about it. That's who you are. Maybe not all the time, but when it mattered. People change. I've changed. Maybe. But I've changed too. And the person I am now knows what he deserves. I paused. And it's not someone who wishes she'd waited for someone else. She was openly crying now. So that's it. For years means nothing. It means I know what I don't want. And I finally know what I do. I glanced back toward the party, toward Lisa, who was talking to my mom and laughing at something. I'm not angry anymore, Rachel. I'm just done. You're really not going to give me another chance. No, I'm not. You need to go. She looked at me for a long moment, and I watched something shift in her expression. The desperate sadness hardened into bitterness. You'll regret this. When things don't work out with her, then I'll deal with it. I interrupted. But it won't change anything about us. There is no us. There hasn't been since you told someone else you wished you'd waited for him. Marcus. Sarah appeared at my elbow, protective and ready for battle. Everything okay? Yeah. Rachel was just leaving. Rachel looked at Sarah, seemed to recognize that there was no ally there. No crack in the foundation. She'd burned that bridge thoroughly. Goodbye, Marcus, she said, and it sounded like she wanted it to be profound, but it just sounded sad. I didn't watch her leave. I turned back toward the party, toward my family, toward Lisa. Sarah linked her arm through mine. You good? She asked. Yeah, I said and meant it. I'm good. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.